Hey everybody and welcome. It is Monday and it is going to be video number 4. I hope everybody's watched the previous ones. I hope that, it's getting out there either by word or by sharing, by commenting. I appreciate all the input that I can get. So I titled this video The Death of a Loved One. We're getting close to the holidays, nearing the end of the month, and it's a hard time for somebody who's lost a loved one. It really works on somebody because they're not there no more. They're not able to participate in what's going on in current life events. And I myself have had to deal with the death of a loved one, and it came rather quick. But back in 2010, my dad passed away July 21st, 2010. And, prior to his passing, just about a month and a half before, was my wedding. I had made him a best man about 3 months prior to the wedding day, but got married, and within a month and about 2 weeks, I lost my dad. I was actually at his house that night, and we were doing what we normally do, which is play cards, have a couple of beers, just have a good time, just sitting there spending time with my dad, sitting there spending time with my brother, and my stepbrothers. And at first it was kind of weird because, he didn't want to drink, didn't really know why. But nonetheless, we kept playing. And then around 11:30, decided to go home. And, he had done something I've never seen him do, which was come outside and kind of just watch. But the look on his face, like I could tell there was something up, but I thought of it too late. And then I get the call early in the morning that they're rushing him to the hospital. He's non-responsive. Feels like I'm going like 111, completely tunnel vision, just trying to get to the hospital. Get there and find out that my dad had died. He had passed away, and it was really hard. Me being the youngest out of my older brother, me, and then I had, stepbrother, stepsisters that, and a stepmom that was all experiencing some type of emotion. There was a lot going on. It was pretty difficult of a time. Then, we proceed to have a funeral. My dad passed away as an Orlando police officer, so, there was the motorcade leading to the funeral. At the funeral, there was at least over 500 law enforcement officers, friends and family, the mayor of Orlando. A lot of people had showed up for my dad's funeral. And I was able to have the privilege to speak, which was probably the most difficult thing I could ever do, standing in front of all those people, talking about my dad that had passed. Because everybody has their own stories, their own perceptions of an individual, and a lot of times, we're just emotionally attached differently. Some people got what I was trying to say, some didn't, and it didn't really matter. It was just, that's what we were there for, to, talk about his life. About a week after that, we had a traditional Irish wake. A bar downtown actually closed off their bar in remembrance of him, so friends and family gathered. We had a good time, had a good Irish wake. A couple months after that was one of the first times that I tried to commit suicide. I had like a dream, a vision, if you will, of me and my dad. And in that dream, he hugged me, which, knowing my dad, he was um, Army, law enforcement. He was just a very tough individual. Didn't show a lot of the feel-good emotions a lot of the time. Nonetheless wise, nonetheless smart, nonetheless a good dad. But he came to me in that dream and hugged me, and he said, everything's going to be okay. I literally woke up crying in my pillow. And instantly, simultaneously, if you may, I reached into the top drawer and I grabbed my Glock at the time, pointed it to my head, pulled the trigger, went click. I ejected the magazine through the slide back, and the round came out. Firing pin didn't hit it hard enough. That was a really rock bottom thing that happened so fast that it made me snap to when it all had happened. I knew, and it took time. It took a lot of time to try to work through those type of emotions, that type of thing, silently suffering, even though loss was, everybody knew there was a loss, but they didn't know individually how I felt. Through the whole time of the funeral, through, years after my dad passed, a lot of the family members relied on me because I guess I didn't take it, like I didn't break down in front of people. I tried to hold myself strong, and, a lot of people leaned on me, and they needed to talk to me, and I needed to talk to them. It took many years. I mean, holidays, not having them, having issues in life and my personal life, just wanting a son to talk to his dad. It was extremely hard. Every anniversary of his passing, we had, a funeral DVD, and I would watch it because that was remembrance of him, and it happened every year for multiple years. But it also reminded me at that time that I almost took my own because of it. Shortly after that, I really just felt like things weren't quite the way they should be, and I was visited one day at work by a bald eagle. It was my dad's favorite bird, made me think of him instantly, and at the time I still had an old flip phone where I was working, and I had a voicemail in there that I'd never seen that I had, and it was a voicemail from my dad, and it was, don't worry, we're going to better you in your future, you just got to believe in yourself, keep holding on. Cried at work. Like in front of another coworker that, he thankfully allowed me to try to cool down, get my head, and keep it. But eventually, through moving and things like that to a new town, I ended up losing one of the DVDs, ended up scratching the other one, which hurt at first, but eventually it allowed me to get to a realization point that I'm okay with the fact that my dad's not here. Are there times that I really wish I could talk to him? Absolutely. Can't ever take that away. But I've learned now that I need to honor my dad in the way that, in his time with me, raised me in a way that he saw fit. And I've got to the point to where I'm thankful. And I try to live my life now in a way that honors my father and my mother. And that's very important to try to do, instead of trying to blame myself and stay in that mentality of constantly hurting. Eventually I worked my way out of it. It took a lot of time in order for it to happen. And a lot of the times it's not like it was a constant, it was a sporadic. It was just sporadic, and every time I did something or get in trouble, got reprimanded, anything like that, it always made me think, damn, I just wish I could pick the phone up and call him. I was fortunate enough to build a relationship with my dad, and thankful for what he has taught me. In the same respect, I hope that he's, watching over me, knowing that his son turned out okay. Every son, every daughter wants to make their mom, wants to make their dad proud of them. Something, happiness, that connection, that bond. And when it takes away, sometimes it feels that it's way too much. But I promise you, change the way that you look at the outlook of your life. Understand that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to mourn. It's okay to understand that no one's really taught how to deal with a lot of deep emotions like that properly. It's very hard, because normally you find out the hard way through a life lesson. But once you start changing that mind and living more in an honor to your parents, and you leave a legacy, you're the legacy of that parent. And it's time for you to shine. It's time for you to move on. Eventually you start changing that mindset. You start working towards this holiday season. I've worked hard. I got, X amount of dollars, supplying my family with Christmas, loving my family, whatever it may be. That's honoring your father, your mother, your lost loved one when it comes to a parent. A lot of the times when you sit there and you really think about it, like, I know that this sucks, this hurts, this is very hard. I don't know if I can move forward in life without thinking about this person, without taking away that pain that comes with it, that loneliness, that loss, that void that's left there. Change your mindset into honoring them instead of changing, man, I wish you were here constantly. Because the more and more you keep drawing that in, you're going to draw yourself into sadness, and it's going to be a hole, if you will, that due to that type of trauma or due to that situation that's going on, it may reflect later in your life. We don't necessarily know what happens until it starts happening. When we realize it, we catch it. Understand that, with the love of the loss of a loved parent or of a child, work in the way that honors them. Feel that inside of you. Feel it deep down inside, and understand in your mind that everything's going to be okay. It will be okay. I will get through this. Start changing up the perception of that, of what you're there for, of what you're leaving there. I always thought that, I would have dad around for a long time. I always thought certain things would be around for a long time, and then instant situational changes happen, and it's very hard to redirect your mind to it. And it takes a lot of practice, a lot of work at what some would be called mastering that emotion or mastering the feeling, and not letting an outside influence dictate how you react to certain things. So bottom line, when it comes to the loss of a loved one, just stay positive. Don't let it rob your life. Honor the dead. Be happy. Celebrate the life of the deceased. Don't let it take your mind down into that darkness. And everybody that's watched this video watched it through. This is a story that I haven't told a whole lot, and it's very, very difficult, very hard for me. So I appreciate everybody who has watched this video. Please share, use the hashtag #FightTheDarkness. And as always, thank you very much, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.